Welcome to The Explainer. Over the next 7 minutes, we're going to build a wholesome understanding of a topic that will completely flip the script on how you look at the things you throw away every single day. Seriously, by the time we're done here, you are going to see your everyday trash in a totally different and honestly way more valuable light. So, let's dive right in.
You know, when you toss a banana peel or some leftover takeout into the bin, it really feels like an ending, right? We are so conditioned to just think out of sight, out of mind. But what if organic waste wasn't a dead end? What if instead, it's basically a sealed packet of energy just waiting to be opened? Because the truth is, that energy doesn't just disappear. It's just sitting there, waiting to be transformed. And that realization brings us to the core of what we're talking about today, biogas. To put it simply, biogas is a fuel gas made when organic material breaks down without oxygen. Now, I know that might sound a little technical, but the core idea is just fascinating. It turns out that when you totally deprive organic matter of oxygen, it doesn't just sit there doing nothing. It actually keeps changing shape, unlocking energy that we can capture and genuinely use.
Now let's clear up a massive misconception right out of the gate. A lot of people, maybe even you before today, assume biogas is just, well, random garbage vapor. You know, that smelly byproduct of things rotting in the open air. But the reality? It's completely different. It's actually a highly controlled process that produces a specifically captured, totally usable fuel. We aren't just letting waste sit around in a pile, we're managing a really sophisticated biological system.
Section 1. The 5 Truths of Biogas. To really understand the system, we need to make the invisible processes visible.
There are 5 core truths that make this whole thing tick. First, it comes from living things. Second, oxygen dictates the outcome. Third, microbes do all the heavy lifting. Fourth, the result is actually a mixture. And fifth, the gas has 2 distinct lives. Let's break these down, one everyday analogy at a time, to really wrap our heads around this.
Okay, truth number 1. Biogas comes from things that were once alive. Think of a packed lunch. If you leave a lunchbox closed, the food energy inside doesn't just vanish, right? Plants originally captured energy from the sun, animals ate those plants, and your food scraps, they carry that exact same solar energy forward. Waste is literally only waste if we completely ignore its potential.
Right. Truth number 2. Oxygen changes absolutely everything. If waste breaks down in the open air, it rots. It just releases heat and carbon dioxide into the sky. But what happens if you seal it off? Think of a boiling pot on the stove. With the lid off, steam just escapes into your kitchen. But slap the lid on, and you contain that environment. The behavior completely changes. That oxygen-free space literally rewrites the rules of biology.
Moving to truth number 3. Tiny organisms do the real work here. Imagine a microscopic, incredibly efficient kitchen team. One microbe washes, another chops, someone cooks, someone else plates it up. No single organism makes the final meal alone. They play these highly specialized roles, passing the work down the line in this brilliant chain reaction. We're essentially putting millions of tiny microscopic bodily functions to work for us. Kind of gross, but absolutely amazing.
Truth number 4. Biogas is a mixture. Think of a fruit basket. We call the whole thing fruit, but dig inside and there are different varieties. Biogas is exactly like that. It's mostly methane, which is the sweet stuff, the highly combustible energy carrier we're really after. But the basket also contains carbon dioxide and some other trace gases.
And our 5th truth, biogas has 2 lives. Yeah, it's a product for sure because it's a fuel, but it's also a signal. Think about it. If you see steam or smoke coming out of a kitchen vent, it signals that a meal is being cooked inside. Biogas is exactly like that smoke signal. It proves to us that organic matter is moving through a healthy, productive cycle instead of just piling up uselessly in a landfill.
Section 2. Unlocking the stored energy. We know the rules of the game, so how do we actually get the energy out?
Here is the real aha moment. Breaking this stuff down is not destruction, it's reorganization. Imagine a massive rope tied up in impossible stubborn knots. You can't use it, but if someone carefully unknots it, well, the rope hasn't been destroyed. It's just been rearranged into a form you can actually use. That is exactly what these microbes are doing, untangling complex molecules into simpler, usable gas.
And this all happens in highly specific stages. First, the large material gets broken down. Second, microbes step in to consume those smaller parts. Third, intermediate substances are formed. And finally, boom, methane is released. Think of it like a document moving through an office. One person drafts it, the next edits it, the next formats it, and the last person finally hits send. Every single step sets up the next one perfectly.
Next section, control over the chaos. Because to make this work for us, we have to step in.
See, if you just let waste rot in the open, the gas escapes completely uncontrolled. It just becomes a smelly, environmental headache. But it's the difference between rainwater splashing randomly into useless puddles versus a highly engineered reservoir capturing that exact same water to hydrate a town when they actually need it. The line between pollution and power is literally just human design and control.
Section 4, the new energy cycle. Let's zoom out for a second and look at the really big picture here. When we step back, this beautiful, grand cycle emerges. Sunlight becomes plant matter gets eaten, and eventually becomes waste. That waste is processed into biogas, and that biogas becomes heat, cooking fuel, or electricity for our homes. We aren't inventing new energy here, people. We are rescuing solar energy that was already captured and keeping it from just being lost to the atmosphere.
It all comes together into a complete, well-oiled machine where every single part has a job. The organic waste holds the energy. The oxygen-free environment sets the rules. The microbes do the hard labor. The gas provides the fuel, the collection system catches it, and the leftover material, that leaves us with a rich fertilizer for the soil. It's basically a perfect closed loop.
I really want you to remember this key quote from our sources today. Biogas is about value appearing where people expected none. Honestly, that hits the nail on the head. That is the ultimate shift in perspective. Organic waste is no longer a burden, it's not a problem, and it's definitely not a dead end. It is a brilliant beginning. So, I'll leave you with this. Tomorrow, when you scrape your plate into the trash, you aren't just going to see garbage anymore. You're going to think like someone who actually understands the system. The real question is, what hidden energy will you see waiting to be unlocked? Thanks for joining me on The Explainer, and I'll see you next time.